And as we expect large amounts of rain and potential severe weather starting late tonight, Huntsville's Director of Public Works is urging residents to take steps now to keep stormwater flowing. Chris McNeese says there are several simple things you can do to improve drainage around your home. First, secure your empty trash bin so they don't flow into the street and block drainage. Remove any debris like dirt, rocks, or leaves from curbs and gutters. You can also check your local ordinances for storm preparation guidelines.
Well, obviously, we want to keep our drainage features clear, keep them so that they will not obstruct any stormwater that's trying to make its way to the inlets, and that's to minimize the hazards in the roadway so that our traveling public can make it home safe.
McNeese says city services include trash pickup will continue as normal tomorrow despite the weather. He's reminding everyone to stay weather aware and be careful if you're out on the roads.
Another shooting by federal agents of people inside a vehicle, this time in Portland, as we learn more about the ICE agent that killed a person here in Minneapolis. Protests and vigils around the country Thursday in response to the shooting death of a woman in Minneapolis by an immigration and customs enforcement agent, deepening tensions over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
ICE is killing people, and that's why I'm out here.
37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen, was shot and killed Wednesday by an ICE agent while seated in the driver's seat of her car. The federal government has described Good's actions as domestic terrorism, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem claiming Good tried to, quote, weaponize her vehicle.
You've got to be a little brainwashed to get to that point to where you're willing, not just to protest, that's fine, not peacefully protest, but throw your vehicle in front of legitimate law enforcement officers and drive your car into them.
But local and state officials have strongly rejected that description and have blasted the rush to judgment.
It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle.
And while people in Minnesota are pushing for a transparent investigation, Oregon officials are investigating a separate shooting in Portland by a Border Patrol agent that wounded a married couple in a car Thursday.
We are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
And we are learning that the investigation into the deadly ICE shooting in Minnesota, the investigation between state and federal authorities fell apart because of mutual distrust. Meanwhile, the governor of Minnesota is calling for a day of unity here. In Minneapolis, Brian Abel reporting.
We are all shaken and outraged.
Portland is not a training ground for militarized agents.
Oregon's governor and Portland's mayor reacting after two people were shot by federal agents in Portland Thursday.
A male and a female with apparent gunshot wounds. The patients were transported to local hospital, and their conditions at this time are unknown.
According to a senior law enforcement official, agents from a special operations unit for Customs and Border Protection tried to stop a vehicle with a suspected Tren de Aragua gang member. During the stop, the vehicle began to drive away, striking an agent, the official said. Shots were fired, hitting the vehicle.
It looks like Kohler saying that he was shot twice by ICE and his wife was shot as well.
No agents were injured. The Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that an agent, quote, fired a defensive shot after the driver allegedly tried to run the agents over. Portland's mayor had this to say about the administration's description of what happened.
We know what the federal government says happened here. There was a time when we could take them at their word. That time is long past. We are calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
Now, the Tennessee Valley's certified most accurate forecast from the FOX54 Weather Impact Team.
And a good Friday morning to you. I'm Fox 54 Weather Impact Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. We're probably already talking about some showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley this morning. Bear that in mind as you head out the door for work. You're going to want to allow yourself a couple of extra minutes. Today is, of course, a Fox 54 Weather Impact Alert Day because we're going to continue to talk about showers and thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon, the evening, and then even as we head into the overnight. Rainfall totals are going to be extremely high in specific locations across the Tennessee Valley, but everybody is talking about well above average rainfall over the next 24 hours or so. With that in mind, a flood watch is already in effect for all of North Alabama, southern Middle Tennessee, and that flood watch is going to run until noon on Saturday. I do believe flooding is going to be a really big concern, whether we're just kind of talking about area-wide flooding or specific flash flooding in the flood-prone locations as that rain continues to fall through the course of the afternoon. And then as we head into the evening, flooding is going to be a bigger and bigger concern. And then especially as we head into the overnight, and flooding becomes even more dangerous when you're talking about nighttime flooding. Now, models have begun to trend a little bit further to the south with the axis of heaviest precipitation. Not far enough to the south that we're avoiding all of this, we're obviously talking about it, but far enough to the south that the axis of heaviest precipitation might not affect far northwest Alabama and might not affect our friends up across southern Middle Tennessee. That being said, those folks are still going to get 1.5 to 2 inches, maybe upwards of 2.5 inches. Everybody else across the Tennessee Valley is going to get 2 to 4 inches of rain. Where it looks like the heaviest precipitation is going to end up establishing itself is across northeast Alabama. Jackson, DeKalb, down into Marshall counties, Morgan County, Coleman County. Those folks are looking at 4 to 5 inches of rain. Locally, those folks could be looking at 5 or 5.5 inches of rain through the course of the afternoon, the evening, and then even as we head into the overnight. At the same time, there is also an incredibly low conditional threat for some strong or marginally severe thunderstorms to develop. What is a conditional threat for severe weather? Well, it means all of the atmospheric parameters need to come into place ever so perfectly for that threat of severe weather to come to fruition. And even as of right now, it really doesn't look like that's going to happen. If it were to happen, the threats associated with any strong or marginally severe thunderstorms would be the threat for some gustier winds, and then there is an isolated threat for a brief spin-up tornado. We'd be talking about the kind that are on the ground for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe upwards of 5 minutes at the most. They're really, really, really weak. But the one thing we're lacking is a lot of surface-based instability. It's really just non-existent given the amount of rain that we're going to get through the course of the afternoon. That rain is going to do a really good job at stabilizing our atmosphere. Still, there is a little bit of wind shear in place. Now, wind shear is a change in wind speed and wind direction as you go up in altitude, and so that's enough to create some gusty winds. But for the most part, through the course of the afternoon, the gusty winds would remain below severe limits. And then, of course, the heavy rain is all but a guarantee. As we kind of progress through your Friday morning, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, we're talking about showers and thunderstorms across the Tennessee Valley. Now, some of this activity might pack a bit of a punch. Maybe we throw in some gusty winds, frequent thunder and lightning, but this activity is going to be somewhat scattered. It's not going to become more widespread until we get to the early part of the afternoon. 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now we're talking about that widespread heaviest precipitation. And look at this, kind of lighter across northwest Alabama, heavier across northeast Alabama, locations east of the I-65 corridor. And that's going to somewhat remain the case through the course of the afternoon and then even as we head into the evening. 7 o'clock in the evening, widespread heavy rain, probably some embedded thunderstorms thrown into the mix. Once this heaviest precipitation builds into the Tennessee Valley, as we head into the early part of the afternoon, it's not going anywhere. It is just going to continue. We're going to talk about those continuation of the high rain rates. Even across northeast Alabama, 12 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, we're still talking about some incredibly heavy precipitation, and that's going to continue until 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. We don't begin to dry out until we get to the later part of the morning. Rain is going to remain even possible through the early part of the afternoon, but that rain wouldn't be really anything worth ruining your day over. Once we get to the evening, we do begin to clear out a little bit, and we'll be talking about a mostly clear sky as we head into your Sunday. If you were wanting some numbers for temperatures this morning, the temperatures are kind of taking the back burner this time around. 64 at 7, 64 at 8, 65 by 9, 66 degrees by the time we get to 10 a.m. We do climb into the mid and upper 60s this afternoon. Some of us could see 70 degrees, but for the most part, we're talking about the mid and upper 60s. Temperatures this evening, 66 at 6, 65 at 7, 64 at 8, 63 by 9 o'clock. All told, temperatures are going to move like 5 or 6 degrees through the afternoon, and then as we head into the evening, we're not really going to begin to see temperatures drop across the Tennessee Valley until we get to Saturday night and then early Sunday morning. We only drop into the mid and upper 50s as we head into the overnight early Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, we're talking about temperatures in the low and mid 60s. These numbers are probably going to occur before the lunch hour. And then we are cooler on Sunday. So 67, 63, just 42 degrees on Sunday. 46 Monday, 53 Tuesday, 51 on Wednesday, 42 degrees on Thursday. More sunshine Monday and Tuesday. Small opportunity for rain on Wednesday. Stick around to Fox 54 Plus. We have more weather and traffic updates coming up. Meteorologist Emily Owen will have a weather update for you today at 12 noon and then again at 4 p.m.